Hi, in this video we'll be show some information regarding the firmament from literature found in ancient illustrations, video footage from a documentary, and recent graphics, among many other sources that reaffirm the validity and irrefutable credibility of such glass ceiling. The glass ceiling is known also by the scientific name Karman line. It is also known by many as a glass dome, which is considered to be true by most flat earth advocates, but not, as is commonly depicted, but more straight and flatter towards its center point. Natural visual phenomena, as rainbows, northern lights, double suns, halos, etc. are attributed to the most part to the atmosphere, but it is also true that a rainbow visual effect, for example, can accomplish with a reflective medium or material like glass, or a mirror or a reflective material. To understand this we have to know from where the rainbow comes, its source, which is light. In other words, the rainbow is a separation of the colors from its original source, which is the light. The effect known as prism is produced when normal light ray, white light, its path is altered by glass various times, creating the rainbow effect that is seen in the sky. The rainbow, just like the sun's halo, confirm that the Karman line is made of some sort of crystal or solid silicone based. As mentioned in the mini-series called Ice Wall Movies, the foundation of the Karman line or firmament are located past the ice plateau that the Rear Admiral Richard E. Byrd found, thousands of miles away from the known Antarctica, the ring wall ice that surround Earth. The area that he have found was at temperatures of 100 degrees below zero, and those ice plateaux that he have found are hundreds of miles away, at least, based on what could observed, and over 10,000 feet high based on what he more or less assumed. Here are some video of his interview and footage of one of his expeditions.
This latest expedition now on the way is a government expedition, I take it.
Yes, that's the government.
However, may I ask you, is there a great difference between the top of the world and the bottom of the world?
There is. Now, the North Pole is the center of an ocean 10,000 feet deep. The South Pole, the center of a plateau, 10,000 feet high. The North Polar Sea is surrounded by continents that are slightly frozen. The Antarctic continent is surrounded by a belt of ice, frozen seas of at least 1,200 miles thick. Now, the south is a plateau. It gets, in some places, 14,000 feet up. I've been over areas about 13,000. And it's a little bit chilly up there.
Rendezvous with him. The smooth shelf roughens. Dark rocks, called nunataks, appear above the ice. Then rugged mountain ranges as far as the eye can see. Bunger leans forward in amazement. His eyes have caught a sudden and unbelievable change in scenery. The universal white has turned to chocolate brown, dotted with blue. A cameraman goes into action. 300 square miles of land without snow. Land that might be in New Mexico or Arizona. Pictures alone will prove Bunger has discovered a warm oasis in the shadow of the pole. It is for such supreme moments as this that men brave the hardships of exploration. The astounding, undreamed of fact is that they are over a chain of warm water lakes, whose shores, except for small patches, are free of ice and snow.
Now, as we can see here, the horizon is barely noticeable, as if there's none. Perhaps it's how it looks like the foundations of the firmament. And as we can witness, the density of the atmosphere is stronger, which also confirms why the sun looks bigger when closer to the horizon than when it is in mid-sky. Besides the natural resources, the coal, and the uranium, that it was found, which were the front story, in order to maintain highly classified the one which was the visual confirmation from Admiral Byrd of the foundations of the firmament. Then following in a chronological pattern, after the expeditions of Byrd, the United States along with other major countries in the world formed the United Nations. Then almost immediately was created the Antarctic Treaty and its 14 articles. With that, they sealed the ring wall of ice called the Antarctica from the world, reassuring the globalization of the world with their Copernican round Earth model, while keeping classified the truth about the firmament and the flat Earth, while exposing the truth to us in plain sight on their UN flag. Knowing the seriousness of the situation, they decide to test their nuclear, atomic, bombs at high altitude, perhaps to avoid any contact with the firmament.
We will examine the effects on the atmosphere of nuclear detonations at 50 kilometers, 100 kilometers, and 250 kilometers altitude. In another view, a high-velocity shock wave is seen to race outward from the radiation front, which is still at a temperature on the order of 10,000 degrees. The cooling fireball and debris mixture, no longer luminous, continues to rise and expand, reaching a diameter of about 40 kilometers at 1 minute.
Now, as one can see, the detonation looks like plasma, or a high-temperature burning glass. Then the displacement of the blast surely suggests that it is actually a physical obstacle making the blast to take that mushroom form, like following the contour of the firmament. The same effect can be observed with thunder lightning sprites, as shown in this video footage. The form those sprites are taking also suggests that there is a solid obstacle making it take those mushroom forms too. In addition, the way the clouds, the sun, and the moon are seen from our perspective explain that the Karman line stretches flatter with a not so much noticeable slightly curve. Very different from the heaven and its stars, depicted in this video. Now to say that there is a glass ceiling would be nonsense without any evidence or proof. Not necessarily, if we consider into account all the material that has been presented so far. However, there is more convincing clues that point to that reality of our firmament. Glass rocks from olive size to softball size and bigger are been found throughout many deserts around the world, especially in the Libyan desert. These rocks are found from all over the desert, miles and miles. These pieces of glass aren't carbon-based but more or silicon-based, are in its purest form, meaning that there are no signs of vitrification like other meteor rocks, that its glass is distinctively dark in comparison. The only logical explanation is that those pieces of glass are chip pieces from the firmament that are fallen. Next, we have an issue with space rockets and space shuttles that don't add up when space travel is all about. There are many documentaries and conspiracy theorist videos talking about such subject, debunking and proving that those space programs are all a hoax. Exposed with many materials, clues, and tangible evidence that support and confirm such statements to be real. Furthermore, many assure that they never been past the Karman line firmament, nor the so-called Van Allen belt. Only getting as high as 120 to 130,000 feet high, or what we know as high altitude. Here are various images from various liftoffs, to space trajectories, re-entries, etc. As it is shown, all of them are in what it appears to be a high-altitude orbit, still in our atmosphere. Know only that, they all are curving, while getting up, and yes, there are many explanations, from scientific celebrities, woods. Meant to say scientist, to people that have no option than to defend what they believe is real by repeating what they have been indoctrinated to think, and even to believe and learn, since they were childs, without being open-minded, but arrogant enough, to say that they are open-minded, for the sake of either troll, or defend their pride, even though they are incorrect. Personal opinion aside, having an open mind literally, meaning without relying on what we have been brainwashed with, the question is, why they have to turn sideways, if a space balloon filled with helium can go straight to reach the same altitude. It should not be an issue, if there is no obstacle other than the Van Allen belt, and the ozone layer, among other technicality that they might add. But here is the real issue, all of those rockets/shuttles not only are curving horizontally, conforming the pattern of the firmament, but are heading down back to Earth. That's not the way it's supposed to, if you are heading outer space in my opinion. All in all, The whole space program has its own problems, not only for this topic in discussion, but for others that not necessarily are in agreement with this theory, reality, but are inclined to other theories as well. Regardless, all the material presented strongly confirm that there is a barrier on top of us, made out of transparent and silica-based solid composition, or, as it is commonly known, as glass. That solid barrier is and always been known as the firmament. To conclude, the following are a series of images representing graphic information from ancient beliefs about our physical cosmology, along with recent images of an enormous crystal cave, also reaffirm the reality of our firmament. Once again, thanks for watching.